I'm gonna say something every now and then so y'all don't fall asleep.
Still might fall asleep.
Hello, Miss Susie.
Hello.
Hey, Hans, I'm here.
I sent it
Okay,
out to
Miss Angela.
everybody in my email.
Very good. We have what we have. Those that are supposed to be here are here. Those that are not do not realize what they're missing. So you have an opportunity to tell them because you were here. And every Thursday to the end of the year, we will be talking about something about insurance. So please make sure you tune in 7:30 on Thursdays. Invite your family, invite your friends, invite your coworkers, your church members, your business associates. Everybody is welcome because we're just telling, we're not selling. A lot of people don't understand life insurance. And so for the next few Thursdays until the end of the year, we're going to talk about something about life insurance. So let's get started at 7:30. And I don't want to keep you long. Life insurance presented by LAP Benefits Team. Lawrence Poole's doing the presentation tonight. My phone number is 757-449-6463. My email is lp2nsure@gmail.com. lp2insure@gmail.com. I have a couple of my business partners on here that I noticed on here. Is Miss Susie out of Virginia, Miss Pam out of Atlanta. I can't see the other ones, but we do have over probably, I would say, 100 years of experience on here. So if you have any questions, you can get all your questions answered at the end. You may take notes and feel free to ask questions. Okay. So first, we're going to say, what is life insurance? Life insurance is a contract between an insurer and a policy owner that guarantees the insurer pays a sum of money to a named beneficiary when the insured dies. So when the insured person passes away, the company or the insurer is going to pay whoever your beneficiary are as long as the insured has continued to make the monthly payments, quarterly payments, yearly payments, or however the payments were made. Okay. As long as those payments are made, the company will pay. So if you pay now, we will pay later. Or if you pay now, the company will pay later. As long as you don't stop paying, we will definitely pay when the insured dies. So that's why some people wonder why their parents have a policy or their loved one have a policy, but the insurance company or the guarantor say, well, the policy was not enforced. It was not enforced because they did not continue to pay consistently for the policy. At some point, they let that policy lapse. When the policy lapses and it's not reinstated before the person passes away, there is no coverage. That's why it is very important that we consistently pay every month if you're on monthly, every quarter if you're on quarterly, um, every 6 months if you're on a 6 month plan or yearly. However you pay, you must pay in order for the guarantor or the insurance company to pay your beneficiary. A lot of times people pass away and nobody's ever checked that policy and made sure grandma has continued to pay, mom has continued to pay, dad has continued to pay, their brother or sister has continued to pay. That is our job as a beneficiary. Okay. So let's keep that in mind. Who needs life insurance? That's a great question. Everybody needs life insurance when you're starting out. Okay. So when you say starting out, you get married, husband and wife, you need life insurance. You start a family. When that baby is 14 days into the world, because you know what the doctor says when he smacks that baby on the butt? He says, oh, you got a healthy boy. He says, oh, you got a healthy girl. At that point, they are healthy. So 14 days into the world, you should, as a parent, as a grandparent, as a auntie, uncle, husband, wife, put a life insurance policy on that baby. And the reason for that is because once they get that policy, I don't care if it's a $25,000 whole life, 10,000 whole life, 50,000 whole life, $100,000 whole life, they have that policy the rest of their life. If by chance when they get 1 year old, two, three, or however old they may get, and they get diagnosed with something, whether it is leukemia, whether it's sickle cell, whether it's a condition, a liver condition, cancer, whatever may happen, that baby already has that policy from 14 days into this world when they was healthy. No one can ever take that away from them as long as you make that payment. In your midlife, now you get into that middle age. You still need life insurance. So hopefully you started when you got married. If you got divorced, separated, or whatever, and you had to start over at that midlife, when you're starting over, you get another policy to take you on. When you're approaching retirement, see, people take their policies at work, and when they leave work, the policies does not go with them. So when you start approaching retirement, you have to set yourself up to make sure that, okay, I'm leaving the shipyard. I'm going to retire. Your benefits go away. So I need to get me some more life insurance. All right, I'm retiring from Walmart. Your benefits go away. 7-Eleven, your benefits go away. McDonald's, your benefits go away. Wherever you are retiring from, those benefits go away. United States military, your benefits go away because you go from the VGLI to the SGLI, and those are term policies. That SGLI is inexpensive when you it's a term product, but when you retire, most people at 38 to 42 because they go in at 18, do their 20 years, then they retire. So now they go to the SGLI. It's real cheap while they're 32 to 40. But once you get into 60, 65, and 70, it becomes unaffordable. And so people drop it because they don't want to pay that $700 or $800 a month. So that's why when you're approaching retirement, we have to do a checkup. So retirement and beyond. So now I've retired. Okay, if you didn't do it back here when you retired from that first job, now that you're in retirement, you have to still make sure that you have something for your family so that when God calls you home, they don't have to worry. And that's why we're here. And that's why we're doing this education tonight. Okay, so it says, who needs life insurance? Everybody. I'm gonna say it again. Who needs life insurance? Everybody needs life insurance. And if they say, well, I got money sitting in the bank, that's great. But if they can't get to that money, it's no good. You need that policy so that your family won't have to worry, won't be stressed out, and they know how they're gonna put you away. Doesn't matter whether you're cremated, buried, put in a vault. They have to have money to do that. And nowadays, the insurance companies will not move a body until they know how they're getting paid. And if you don't believe me, think back at COVID 2019, how many bodies was put into the U-Haul trucks and just sat there. They didn't know whose they were. They didn't know who the beneficiaries were, and nobody was claiming them. There was no money, so nobody touched the bodies. So I want y'all to think about that. Why is life insurance needed? Number one, to protect your assets and your family. Okay? What are your assets? Your assets are everything you own, your home, your cars, your land, your jewelry, your life. Those are all your assets. And it's there to protect your assets and your family's assets. So if you're husband and wife, you're going to protect yours, you're going to protect hers, you're going to protect them as a family. If you have children, you're going to protect their assets along with your assets. So everybody's assets is protected. Okay? To give a peace of mind and security during hard times. Now, the best peace of mind is knowing that that life insurance is in place and you don't have to worry about it. Security during hard times. And people say, how is life insurance security? Because it secure your investment. There's money there for your family during hard times. So if you had a life insurance policy that was in force, a cash building policy, whether it's an IUL or whole life, When the government shut down, you had that policy over 10 years. You had some cash in there you could go borrow until you went back to work. Okay? If you lose your job for whatever reason, and you had that policy 10 plus years, and when I say 10 years, only 10 years, you normally have about $5,000 plus built up into that policy. You could go borrow your own money. So it's there for you during hard times to secure the children's future. You can use that life insurance, borrow that cash to pay for your student or for your child while they're a student in college. Because sometimes they're going to call you and say, Dad, I need $3,000 to stay in school. And you might not have $3,000 sitting in the bank or somewhere you can get it from right away. You can't say, well, let me go do overtime for the next month and I have the money. And they say, Dad, they said I got to pay it this Friday. You want to be able to, because you have that life insurance policy in place, cash building policy, you can take that to secure your children's future and for final expenses and burials. Okay. It's needed to make sure that that life insurance final expense policy is the GoFundMe killer. You have that policy, you never have to worry about GoFundMe. Doesn't matter whether it's 10, 15, 20, or 25,000. Even if it's as low as $5,000, at least you can be cremated. And sometimes that's the options family have to make because they don't have any more money. So they'll say, okay, we have 5,000. Instead of having a funeral, we're gonna have to do a cremation. But at least they can pay for something. So why is life insurance needed? For all these reasons. What are some other benefits of life insurance? Okay, life insurance for a mortgage protection policy. You buy a house, you want to make sure you don't want to leave your family with a debt and you're not here. You take out a mortgage protection policy that will have enough money there to pay the house off or give the spouse or give the children, whoever is left, options for what they can do. For living benefits, if you have the right type of policy, and remember the right type, every policy does not have living benefits. Final expense policies don't have living benefits. Some companies' whole life don't have living benefits. Some companies' term policies do not have living benefits. But there's companies out here that have living benefits. What are living benefits? Things like terminal illness, critical illness, chronic illness, critical injury, and Alzheimer's. You may access those policies death benefit while you're still living, and that's part of your living benefits. Okay, we have to do our homework to know what we have. We have to do reviews to get educated on what we have. If you have policies that you bought about 15, 20 years ago, they probably do not have these living benefits because they weren't out back then. But they're here now. Don't get rid of your old policies. Let's sit down and do a checkup with one of the agents that invited you out here so we can educate you. And then you can make a sound decision. Let's come to these classes every Thursday so you can learn what's out there and educate you on what you don't know. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing. The problem is what you're going to do about it when you do find out about it. Tax-free retirement. We're talking about tax-free retirement. Life insurance and the Roth IRA are the only two vehicles out there for a tax-free retirement. College funding for your children. That's what life insurance benefits can do for you also. Then we have the key man insurance. You have business owners out here who owns a business. Let's take the contract that goes out there every day, hammering that hammer, building that house. But if he don't go home tonight, what is the spouse going to do? Okay, she can't go out there and say, I'm going to hire somebody, but she can go hire somebody, but she's not going to have enough money to pay them and get good people to work like her husband did because she don't have the money to pay them right away. But that key man policy in any business allows the family to keep that business going on. Leaving a family legacy. That's what life insurance is for. Leave that legacy for the family, and also life insurance is for estate planning, planning for your estate, having the money there to pay the taxes on that estate. So when you're not here, the family do not have to sell things because we did not properly prepare ourselves. Uh-oh. Is all life insurance the same? Okay, here we go. Is all life insurance the same? No. Life insurance policies differ significantly in number one, coverage, cost, benefits, and choosing the right type depends on your financial goals and needs. My financial goals and needs are not the same as Pam's financial goals and needs. Nobody's financial goals and needs are the same. Your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your neighbor, your cousin, your best friend, none of the financial needs are the same because everybody is different. So you can't let someone sit back and tell you this is what you need if they're not in the business, because they're going to tell you what you need off of based on what they need. So you have to make sure that you sit down with someone and let's learn what your needs are and how we can best help you benefit your financial goals and needs. Any questions or comments or concerns?
Doing a great job.
Yeah. Great job, Lawrence. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Anybody have any questions? Okay, I'm going to share this with y'all. Like I said, we're going to have something every Thursday talking about insurance. Even towards the end, we're going to talk about the standalone cancer plans. We're doing this to benefit our communities. We have agents on here all over the United States. I can't look and see who's on here now. And some of our agents are not on here. We do have agents in other states. So we're asking y'all to share this with your family, share this with your friends and your adult children. And it don't have to be adult children. Bring some of the younger children on here so they can understand. Let them sit there with you and hear some of these things. And when you get off the Zoom, talk to them, educate them at a young age of why you do some of the things that you do, so they'll understand. And if we do that, as they're getting older, they'll know what they should do. We got to reach back to our family, our children, our grandchildren, and start educating them. Don't just sit there and watch television with them. Educate them on things like this that they need to know, and you can tell them. You might not understand it now, but if you follow the series, you'll pick up some things. Now you can sit back and have intelligent conversations with them about life insurance, and they can understand why you're putting it on them and why you have it on you. Does
Mr.
anyone have?
Poole,
Yes, ma'am.
this is Doris. I was speaking with someone today about life insurance and the need for it. And they told me that she and her husband have gone directly to the funeral home and they've paid for everything. So they don't need life insurance.
Okay.
Can you help me with that kind of response?
Yes. Well, Ms. Doris, I'm glad you went to the funeral home and set up everything for your funeral and you feel you don't need life insurance. But my question to you is, can you guarantee me that that funeral home is going to be here when you pass away? What happens if that funeral home goes away? You're not going to have anything. Okay? Because if the funeral home shuts down and nobody keeps it open, your money's gone nowhere. Especially if you don't have a certificate. And most people don't get a certificate that will cover them that's covered through the state because they don't realize they need that. So you can go there and pre-plan, and here's what happens when you pre-plan. You might say, okay, I'm paying today for my funeral. I'm paying for the grave. I'm paying for the casket. I'm paying for the embalming. Okay, that's great. You go in there, you do that at 50 years old. You live to 102. Do you think the price is going to be different at 50 than at 100? And they're going to say, well, we're locked in. You're locked in for the person that's there right now. But as things changes, you're going to have to pay more. That's like saying I'm going to the grocery store. I'm going to pay for all my meat today. So 20 years from now, I don't pay for my meat. So it's going to cost me the same price. Oh, no, it's not. So those people have to be a little educated because they don't know. Yeah, people prepay for some things, but it doesn't mean it's going to be there when you need it. Does that
Thank you.
help you, Ms. Doris?
Yeah, yes, it does. But I'm hearing, and one of the things I know about this particular person, um, I would have to overcome a lot of objections because they think they know what's best for them, and the fact that she and her husband, he used to work for the funeral home as well,
Okay.
and so they feel like they have everything in place. And so it would be a continuous effort to try and understand and pass
Ma'am.
on information so they understand what they have and the limitations of what they have. But I thank you for that response. You know, it's something good to use. I can use that. Thank you.
I'm going to see if I can get you some information too on these certificates, because a lot of people prepay and don't have a certificate.
Exactly.
And see, when you don't have that certificate, you're prepaying. When you prepay for a funeral, you're prepaying that funeral home. So if this here, and I'm just gonna call a name out there, let's just say it's Metropolitan. I know some people on the East Coast up here know Metropolitan. Metropolitan
Right.
Funeral Homes, you went in there and you prepaid. Now, you prepaid that person there. So if that person there paperwork is not straight for everything, so when he's not here, he's gone, that they can go back in there and find that same prepayment that you've paid. The new people that took that over can come back and say, well, we have nothing to do with that. You prepaid the prior owner. He took that money when he left, which they do.
Mm-hmm.
And so now your family is stuck here to pay something. And even though you worked at that funeral home, that's okay. But that do not mean that they're going to take care of you when that time comes if they're not the person still there.
There's no
Understood.
guarantee.
Understood. Understood. Great response. Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else?
Yeah, can
This
I
is good
add to
stuff,
that?
y'all. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I had some situations like that, and some of the other things that people are not aware of when they do the pre-need is that, for an example, if they're making the payments and they pass away before that total amount is paid, then the family still has to come up with the balance, and they have to do it ASAP. Another scenario when working with them is, imagine if you paid the funeral home $20,000 and your funeral only came to say 10,000. A lot of times the funeral home does not have to give any of that leftover money back to the family. And so you don't have anything to leave to your loved ones. Yeah, your funeral got paid, but what did you leave grandbabies? So those are other things that people just need to be aware of when they think that that they know it all, and that's one of the reasons why these Zooms are so important, because if they offer knowledge and then they offer reminders. Some people can know something, but then it's good to jog your memory. It's good to bring it back up to the forefront of your mind while you have your right mind. So
I
that's
think
what I wanted to add.
you made a valid point. This is Angela out of Tennessee, and like I said, for lack of knowledge, people perish. But people are not reading these contracts. We need to have a class that where you can just have a study session where people learn how to read their contract and know exactly what they get. But like you said, like he made that point about being over $10,000. There should be, you should only have an understanding of that before you even sign your line on the line. Because like you said, how do you get to keep an extra $10,000 when my transition out only costs 10,000? And that's sad. But then, like I said, you also got that probability of a new person coming in and taking over the company, or just bad bookkeeping by whomever was there. So I would never prepay for something like this. But also I think people in existing time now and going forward, we should learn how to read contracts and understand what we're signing. That is so key, learning what we're signing, because if the person in your family is the one that's handling everything, like you said, we're all in business. I think sometimes people need to sit down and just there's business and then there's family business, and we need to understand every and anything in the house, especially when it comes to contracts and things like that, and just make I don't know, make it a game, whatever you got to do. But insurance companies, I like the way Lawrence has broke everything down. You get a chance to do a little Q&A, et cetera, but your understanding is pulling you in to understand every part of that contract. But I'm 60, been 63, 4 on my birthday. I would never prepay for something like that because it's so much fine print, and we just sign because, I got me some insurance. No, we need to have a class just on breaking down what a policy is really saying. So you understand the jargon and the know-how of what they're saying in that contract. Because after you sign, now you're gonna get stuck in court trying to get your money back. And that's sad.
And thank you, Angela. You're absolutely right. But we have to also sit down and educate people after they get their policy of not letting someone come in and take what they already have away. Let them sell you
Yes, sir.
something else, but don't give up what you already have. Because I have a lady who a guy came in there and took her policy away and said he can sell her more. And he got lucky because she's had a medical condition and he was able to. But if he could not have, he had to cancel in that cancel, um, surrender her policy, take the cash, and he sold her another one. Now he could have went in there and sold her more coverage, but we don't know. I'm sorry, the client don't know what they don't know, and it just sounds good. I can get more coverage than what I've already had, and I'm not sure if she's paying the same amount of money or not. But this is what's happening to our seniors. This is what's happening to young folks, middle-aged folks, because we don't know. We got to educate more, and that's why it's so important for us to be in our community, educating our people, and then work our way outside of our community to educate the world. Because we are lack of knowledge, no matter who you are, we are lacking what people need to know, and we got to be better teachers, better people explaining, and get more out in our communities to save our communities. Anybody else before we go? We haven't even been on here 30 minutes. It's 7:55. So next Thursday, can y'all please invite some more people? We're
Sure.
gonna send the Zoom out earlier and just tell them it's coming for the education. We're not trying to sell you anything. All we want to do is educate you on what you may not know, educate you on what you may need, and help you get it if you want it. And if you don't buy a thing on this call, that's okay. We know as professional agents, we are doing our job sharing this information. The problem we have is we don't have enough people to share it with. And it's up to us as agents, it's up to us, the people up here that are guests, or that are clients or that are family or friends, we have to bring more people so we can get the word out to everybody. And one of the most important things, if you ever think about it, is get the insurance on those babies at the age of 14 days. That's the most important people. I'm sorry, that's the most important thing because these babies are getting sicker earlier and not being able to get first day coverage insurance. But at 14 days, you can write them a policy. And I want y'all to remember that 14 days. Write those babies' policies. Get grandma, grandpa involved because they want to do that for those grandkids. They'll start their policy and keep it for them.
Do you do
All
the
right,
UGMA?
y'all.
You do the UGMA account as well?
Say it again.
The UGMA account. You know how they be selling Gerber baby selling all that whatever junk, but the
We
UGMA
do
account
have,
is yeah.
some of us here do sell for Gerber. So I'm sure we do sell that account. I don't know what the UGMA is, but I know they have an
It,
account out there. I think it might start $1 or it might be a little bit more. Then it doubles when they get, I think, 18
it's
or something.
compounding. It's
I think it's
compounding.
25,000 compounded. Right. We do
Yeah.
have those with Gerber.
Okay. Yeah, because when people,
And thank you for that information.
yeah, the average person that has, is just starting out, they don't know these little perks. And instead of everybody coming in and producing all these different stuff, you got to go take back and get your money back at Walmart. The parents always know what the theme of the party is. I'd rather have a drawer on the side. I said, what's that? That's an UGM account for my child. So that money keeps compounding. And I think they can, goes all the way to age 18, but they cannot touch it unless it's an extreme emergency of some sorts. But when I heard about that, I was a little upset that I didn't know about that when my son came into play. So, for what, so I'm passing it to all my nieces and nephews because it's so important. Like he said, even with the 14 days, I didn't know that was the earliest you could put a policy on a child. So we learn something every day, and I'm excited to be here. Everybody should be doing classes like this because how do you know where you're going if you don't know you don't know what's up?
And I'd like
You're
to,
right.
right,
I agree. Is that
this is Doris, and I'd like to add, I just thank you for this opportunity. Being new in the business, it gives me an opportunity to learn more about how to overcome so many of the objections that we get. And, to know our product, like you have said before, we need to learn our product, but we still learn how to deal with people that think they know more than we do. And they've had
Yeah.
no training, no testing, and they just don't know what they don't know, So thank you.
I want
Let
to
me
thank the
tell y'all
person that
something.
brought
I've
that
been in
up
the
because,
business.
yeah,
I've been in the business 37 years. Okay. And I'm the first person to tell anybody, I know I don't know it all. I know. And I tell people sometimes, I don't know if Marvita's on here or not. I feel she hasn't been in the business as long as me, but I know with certain products like annuities, she knows more than me. I haven't sold a lot of annuities. Now, sometime when it come with the IUL, some things that she say I may have known, but I forgot. But you remember when somebody tell it or say it, and that's why when people thinking that they know it all because they've been an agent for a long time, they don't. Because there's always a product that you're not selling that somebody else is really selling, and you're gonna know it. Just like Miss Doris, I know that she knows more on supplemental than I do. Have I sold some? Absolutely. But she's a supplemental guru because that was her main focus on supplement insurance, and that's what she's been selling for a while. So never think that you're in a position that you know it all. You can always learn. And as long as you keep an open mind and come to some of these things to pick up what you don't know, it's just making you a better educated agent who's a team player. And that's what we like about LAP Benefits Team. I always tell y'all, there's no agent left behind unless they don't reach up so we can help them or they don't reach out so we can help them. And I'm ending with that. I appreciate y'all this evening. Thank y'all. If there's no more questions, we're going to go ahead and end that Zoom. We'll see you next week. Thursday, same time, 7:30. Remember, we start on time so we can end on time. Right now, it's just 8. Let me look at my clock. So 8 o'clock sharp. Can't get no better than that. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good evening.
thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.